So this week in class, I just kind of talked about some of the things I learned, some of the things I did, because again, first year teacher, so all of this is new to me. Granted, I did substitute teach for about 8 weeks at the end of last school year, but substitute teaching is not the same thing as running your whole own situation, right? So just a couple of things I did. So I moved desk around, right? Because I was like, all right, y'all, in order for things to function better, I need to put some people in different places. So I put what I am now calling my students with the most potential. I put one right up front by me, and then one kind of in the back. So it's just to kind of diffuse their ability to pull the class's attention, and then to give them more access to me, and give me the opportunity to kind of be a little bit closer to them, and we'll see how that works, right? I think I didn't consider the impact of students who maybe need a lot of attention, the impact they can have on other students. And it's interesting, right? It doesn't necessarily affect everybody else's behavior. The other kids don't act up because these two kids are so far out of frame. They're actually annoyed. They want to learn, they want to be able to hear the teacher, they want to be able to concentrate, and it's hard for them, so, trying to figure out how to manage that, and even, teaching them, hey, listen, to some degree, y'all got to ignore them because they are trying to get the attention of the class. So when you get upset, when you yell at them and all that stuff, they're like, yay, it's working. People are responding to me. You know what I mean? So, that's a life lesson too, right? Sometimes you can't make people do things, but you can not give them the air they want, in terms of them doing what they want to do. And if they're doing it for attention and you don't give it to them, well, then they got to stop, because they're like, well, this doesn't work. This isn't working and giving me what I want. So I have to do something different. Definitely can't do this because it don't do nothing. Um, on that note, I was like, oh, okay, right. If I'm having difficulty, with the child, I can call for help. So it's good to, be at a school that is responsive to that. And then even just me knowing that I could do that. Because, sometimes you think, well, I'm in when you're a teacher, you're in this world kind of all by yourself. So you'll tend to try to manage everything on your own and you forget, oh, there's support. I can move people around and things like that, and sometimes you don't even have to move the child that needs a little bit more help, but you can move the child that's most distracted by that child, right? Because if the child that's most bothered by the child that's being bothersome, well, you'll move that kid, and now they don't have that same feedback, to kind of bounce off of. So, like I said, just things I'm learning. Um, the other thing, kind of epiphany I had was, so I keep saying that I teach second grade, right? But I teach second grade. I don't actually teach second graders, right? Because these kids were just in first grade. So essentially, most of them, they got to the end of first grade. Developmentally and academically, everyone may not necessarily be at the end of first grade, right? So in a lot of ways, I am teaching first graders how to be second graders. So that's just some clarification of the task. We'll see kind of how that plays out and how I actually um, manifest that or make that kind of happen over time. But that's an interesting thought. So because of that, so one thing you do as a teacher is you have morning work, right? So the The kids come in, they put their bags down, and then you normally have something for them to do, and then like you watch announcements, and then you move on into the day. So initially, I'd put together, a couple packets of morning work, and it was second grade level work. But if they're not quite second graders, and I know in some cases, this stuff is put together based on where they should be, but some kids were struggling to get the work done. Some weren't. Some were fine with it, but some were. So it's like, oh, if I'm teaching first graders, then maybe I need first grade morning work. So that's something that I'm playing with, and I have to pay attention to. I don't want to stifle, my kids who, might be a little bit further along, in their educational journey. So I probably need to give them second grade work and push them to see how far they're going to go. You know what I mean? And then the kids who need a little bit more support, who are a little bit further behind, give them a different set of work. So, math. I was teaching a math concept and the kids weren't getting it. And that's the art of teaching. It's not about, oh, these kids, they don't get it, blah, blah, blah. No, no, no. It is my job to facilitate their understanding. So if they don't get it, then I need to figure out a different way to, it's almost like it's in their brain and it's locked, and I have to give them a key. And I give them a key, right? And they're like, well, this key doesn't work. I can't say, well, try it again. You know what I mean? No, I need to give them a different key. You know what I mean? Because for whatever reason, the key that I have doesn't fit the door that they have, and especially if multiple students are having the same problem with this concept, then that means that at that level, they need something else, so it's like, it's up to me to figure it out. It's never just, oh, the kids don't get it, and this, that, and the other. No, it's always, how can I most effectively present this so the light bulb goes on, and then maybe after you do that, right, maybe you can revisit how you wanted to teach it, and that may give them another facet of understanding in terms of that work. But if they don't get it the way that I'm teaching it, that's not the kids, that's the teacher. Just administrative level, I booked the sub that just feels like grown people stuff. That's almost like, as an adult, when you first go to Home Depot for like your own project, you feel like your parents, So I was like, that's big boy behavior, getting that done. And interestingly enough, the sub canceled like that morning, right? Like, but that has nothing to do with me. One thing we do is we have what we call a split list, which, good morning, Micah. A split list where we put together, we split the kids up amongst all the teachers. I think we got like 8 second grade teachers, I want to say. So we put 2 or 3 kids in each class. I also put my students with the highest potential for development. I put one of them in each teacher's class because they can be a lot to handle. So I'd actually gotten that done earlier this week. So when the sub canceled, that's what they did. They split the kids up. So it's good to know that that's how that works. Last kind of little silly thing I do. So when you're a teacher, you get well acquainted with the printer. You spend a lot of time printing, a lot of work, and you've got to think about it, right? So I have 20 students. And so if I put together a packet of work that has, let's say it has 4 sheets of paper, right? So I got 20 students, that's 80 sheets of paper, for just one thing. Let's say that's for math, right? I got a 4-page packet for math, and I got a 3-page packet for reading. That's 60. And I normally print 1 extra, right? So just in case, I do print 1 or 2 extra. So, I mean, I printed a sub packet, and I used almost a whole pack of paper. So while I'm at the printer, I'll print a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'll leave like maybe what's that? Oh no, no. See, I can't take credit for those pictures on my back wall. I'm in a hotel. But this is me as a teacher, but definitely I'm a big fan of printing your work, and I do need to print more of my work and put it at home. I do have some family photos that I've done that are up, but even like one thing I've been wanting to do is, your kids, they do artwork, like especially if they're in camp, and some of it actually works, right? So I've actually scanned some of it, and it's my intention to blow it up, frame it, and put it big on the wall. And I tell them always, whenever you get artwork, sign it. So that way we have real artwork in the home, but it comes from the kids. So if it works, we'll put it up. So, but yeah. So back to the printer. You print all this stuff, and then what I normally do is I leave like, oh no, you can't borrow it. That's stealing because it ain't mine. That's the hotel's. But I uh I normally leave a couple sheets of paper in the printer. It's just, I don't know, it's just my thing. I'm like, hey, it's just a nice thing because I'm gonna tell you what will happen every now and then. You'll run to the printer, and because you got to bring your paper with you, right? Every school does it differently. My school normally we get paper drops every now and then. So you might have a case of paper, I don't know, once a month, once a quarter. I don't know how often they do it. But you get your paper, and you have paper. Sometimes that's on your school supply list, which, by the way, I will drop the link to the my school's my Amazon wish list. I still have it. I've gotten quite a few things, and again, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone who's been so helpful. I still have a few things on there. Some things that are kind of ongoing, right? Some things you'll always need. You'll always need pencils, and then there are just a few things that just building out my classroom. So you can always check that. If you want to listen, bookmark it if you want, right? And then you can always check it to see where I am if that's your thing, right? Also, if you want to adopt my classroom, let me know. Send me a message, and I'll give you the paperwork and the process for that. But yeah, I just leave some paper, but it's feeling like, wait a minute, if I normally print, at the least it would be 20 pieces of paper if it's a one sheet thing, right? So then me leaving 5 sheets of paper really might be a useless thing to do, but it just seems nice. So I do it anyway. I don't know, maybe I need to leave 10 or 15 because, sometimes you do have a one sheet thing that you need to print. I don't know. Last thing that was kind of fun. So I thought that, because I don't know the whole process, that as a teacher, when you start, you get a temporary certificate. I think I saw that somewhere. That was my understanding, and you don't get a permanent certificate after you've been teaching for a certain amount of time. So somebody clarify this for me because I'll look, but I forget. But I just got my my just regular teaching certificate emailed to me the other day. So that was great. That was a just a moment, where like, man, listen, I'm doing the thing, and again, it's feeling more comfortable. The teaching, I love. The interaction with the kids, I love. The administrative piece, I'm evolving and learning how to manage that better, right? It's a big part of the job. It's unavoidable, but it's just something I have to get used to. Is a level of organization and being able to move that you have to get used to. I think the other thing that I'm not used to is the constant interruptions, throughout your day. from the kids as well as from outside sources. It's just something that you have to learn to roll with, and it's something that I just struggle with personally. You know, like normally if I'm in the middle of something and I get interrupted, it's hard for me to switch back and forth, and that's a mental load thing, right? It's a challenge for all of us, but some people do better with it. You know, some people, if they're taken from a task and move to another task, they can reorient pretty quickly. You know, some people have a hard time getting into it. So then that makes it difficult to switch from one task to a second task to a third task. Then it's like, oh, you know what I mean? And then if you're kind of doing multiple things at once, right? You know, trying to talk, you're passing out paperwork, somebody asks you to go to the bathroom, then the office calls, then you're like, where's the paperwork I was passing out? Right? So, like, I think one thing that's great is it's good to have systems for the kids. You also need systems for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you're literally doing things the same way every time so that if something changes or if there's, you know, some type of update, you always know where one is, right? Like I had to stop, I had to change back to one. One is always in the same place, right? So that's this week in class for me. Again, my Amazon wish list, I will post a link for it. And I like this. I think I'm gonna every at the end of every week, you know, this will kind of be my my video journal of my journey as a first year teacher. All right, y'all. Take care. Y'all have a good day. or a good week, right? Yeah.